Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this special interview dedicated to the heart and essence of iconic design. And joining me today is André Polheim, the creative mind behind NOTO Design, a studio acclaimed for turning design thinking into timeless creations. Together, we'll explore a question at the very heart of our industry: what makes a product iconic? André, in your opinion, what are the essential qualities that turn an object into an icon?
So let's see if I can start then. Yeah, okay. Yeah, good morning, everybody. Buongiorno. Thanks for the invitation. What makes a product iconic? I think if you would have the complete recipe for it, you know, everybody would do it. So it's still a little bit of a magic behind, I think. But I very much believe in that a strong principle behind every design makes an iconic product. So I also strongly believe in. Is there a remote?
Dell'audio, del video.
I also strongly believe in geometry, so that there is a geometric origin in pieces, because I think to design an iconic product, it's also important that it is easy to grasp for people. So otherwise it can't be remarkable, otherwise it will not stay in your mind. So every kid should be able to draw it. Maybe it's not drawn correctly, but you have an idea of what you saw and you can remember and yeah, repeat that, because and then you need a principle behind. And I said I believe in the principle of geometry, of order, you know, of structures to make that.
Yeah, perfect. So before we dive into your work with Banks and Olufsen, let's take a step back. Which iconic products, objects, or furniture pieces from the past have shaped your vision? And are there brands or designers you see as timeless references?
I mean, when it comes to iconic products in the past, I think there are different levels of what can make products iconic. And as I knew this question before, you know, I could have think about it. And one level, for example, is of course shape. You know, so as said, and I would say a 9/11. You know, that's something. Everybody has a picture in his mind. You know, so and you know this silhouette which drives it. But then there are also iconic products, for example, by Naoto Fukasawa. I very much honor. So he did this this CD player for Muji, which is with this cord, you know. So and there the iconic level comes from the way of how you interact with it, you know, so that you switched the interaction principle to something also which is in your mind, you know. You know this from lamps, so it's a quite nice level of interaction, and to introduce that into a product where you wouldn't expect it makes it iconic. Then you have the opportunity, but you cannot plan for that probably, in being technical innovative. So a Sony Walkman, you know. So it's also, I mean, that's an icon for an era, you know. So but I think that's out of control if a product starts to be something like this. And what also came to my mind is a Panton chair, for example, because I think this is, you know, the material was new, and what was special about the new material, the material can float, you know, and I think that's exactly what the shape is about. So bringing the material to life in a, you know, melded in a shape and express what it can do. So there are different levels of how you can create iconic things. And when it comes to designers, or I honor, you know, so I look at, I would say these are the ones who also work a lot with structures. So as said, Naoto Fukasawa is something who reduces it to the max and everything is well placed and remarkable objects. But also, I'm very much influenced by architecture, so by Buckminster Fuller structures, or as you can see, for example, at Beolab 90, the principle behind Beolab 90 is a Frei Otto principle, so a German architect.
The next question,
Okay.
not too far.
Okay. Good.
So let's shift the focus to your creative process. And when you start working on a new product, especially for a brand with a strong identity, like a Banks and Olufsen, where does the journey begin? Do you start with sketches, materials, brand research? How do you turn a brand identity into design?
I mean, working for Bang & Olufsen is really special, and you cannot compare it with a lot of other companies in the world. So maybe what expresses it well is so how our collaboration started. So when I went there first time, I think it was in 2012, we have been invited for a new project. We didn't know which project it is, but the first thing we saw was Factory 5, and Factory 5 is the aluminum factory of Bang & Olufsen. So it was really like breathing the craftsmanship, you know, how you can treat aluminium. So that's the first thing I think you have to grasp, you have to understand to be able to design for this brand, you know. So there's a strong heritage, and how can you turn this heritage into something new? So that's the first overarching thing which is important for our work. Second, when it is about a product brief, we always started with the acoustic concept. So before we start a design project, there was always work be done by the acoustic engineers. So what we see before we start to design is a wooden box with a lot of electronics outside at that point, and a lot of drivers inside. And the acoustic engineers have an idea of what they can deliver, what kind of experience they can deliver in sound. And then it is about us to identify what is the character of this experience you want to deliver, right? So for me, and then that's a little bit of a difficulty nowadays, where there's this term of UX design, you know, and UX design is always so much related to digital design. So these products are an experience, you know. So and that's the first thing we think about. And we in the studio we like to create narratives for the product. So what is the experience we wanna deliver, and then we work around that, and then we start to sketch, of course. So it's in the beginning it is always handwork, and it is about using the sketch. I mean, a lot of people here are probably creative, so it's nothing new about this process. But I think it's important to use sketching to get in this mood and get in this flow of being creative. And then it is always like this, these diamonds, you know, you open up, you have your big whiteboard with I don't know how many ideas on, and then you have to select and you have to converge again. And I think that's the most critical part. So because these are rough ideas at this point. So what has enough essence, what has enough story in itself, where we can be sure we can take that through the entire implementation process.
And Beolab 28, Biovision Theater, Harmony, Beolab 8, Beolab 50, all designed by you. Different products, but with a shared style and built to work as one system. There's a clear idea, freedom to mix and match, and build your perfect setup. How did you approach this, and how important is to give clients the freedom to mix and match while keeping everything coherent?
I mean, that wasn't an observation we made when we talked to dealers.
Yeah.
You know, so that people or that the installation use case is that people want to combine things, so you can have 28s in the front, 8s in the back, or you can have 50s in the front, 28s in the back. So we said, like, instead of what the era was before we created these staged products, there were more single items, but yeah, more difficult. Sorry, but more difficult to combine. And we said, like, okay, we would like to build a portfolio where every single item has its strong character, so it works when it is there alone, but it's also easy to combine. Of course, the material does a lot to it, so it's quite easy to combine things when you share same materials. But you can also find some principles we implemented for all of them, and as said, all of them have that idea of a geometric origin inside. So. And that's what makes them, what connects them, and at the same time makes it possible to combine them quite easily.
Perfect.
50 was the first one, so 50 set the 50 set the direction for the other ones.
And now let's dive into one of your latest creations with Bang & Olufsen, the Beolab 90. More than a speaker, I say a true work of art. Can you take us inside the creative journey behind this extraordinary piece?
Yeah, so the 90s have been the first speaker we did with B&O in the original version, and the latest one as well in this alchemy version. I mean, for Beolab 90, the brief was create an icon, so, and that's kind of a burden. We know that there's this book laying around, and you find some photos there. I think we also, oh no, we don't have it in the background, but maybe somewhere I prepared some images for background where you can see the acoustic concept behind, and the acoustic concept behind was I think an 80 by 80 by 80 centimeter wooden box, but the idea was this product doesn't have a front and a back, so this is able to play 360 degree, and you can adapt directions and all that. So we said, like, okay, we need a structure which is 360 degree, and what we also need is a minimum structure, because when you have acoustic wave, you need transparency. So we needed to find something what is transparent enough to have all these multiple speakers around and distribute sound in all directions. And so we came up with this fabric idea, and with this Frei Otto principle that 4 points of a sail construction are enough to give a strong definition to the tension or to the fabric which is in between these 4 points. So that's the basic idea, and then we had to manage to bring it around in 360 degree. And then about 9 years later, we were asked to put something on top. So how can we make this product even more delicate and let's say having the opener for the entire atelier strategy.
In fact, Beolab 90 is a design icon, as we say, on its own. But what happens when it meets atelier? How do the digital composer let clients truly make it their own pieces?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the digital composer now is the logic consequence of when you talk about luxury. Yeah, so. Because what is more luxurious than making things your own, so being able to being able to have it the way you want, making it even more unique because there's only one probably. I remember, the Bentley, for example, they didn't even have standard colors, so you brought your color you want to have to Bentley in. So that's a consequence, that's a logic if you're talking about premium experience and luxurious experience, that you offer this kind. And I mean, you can see the collection of colors, the collection of wooden materials, the collection of treatments, the collection of fabrics you can use. So that's a complete new level for Bang & Olufsen, and to turn a standard product into a customized, true luxurious product.
Okay. Thank you, André, for taking us into the heart of what makes a design timeless. And from inspiration to craftsmanship to the digital age, it's clear that building an icon is both art and process. We invite you all to experience Bang & Olufsen products and their atelier possibilities in our showroom space later. But now, don't go too far, because we are welcome Simona Finessi, the Director of Platform Architecture, who will lead a roundtable discussion with 10 renowned architects on the future of luxury personalization. We look forward to see you tomorrow for another Bang & Olufsen interview. Thank you. Thank you, André.